So thanks for joining us today, Bob. Now, Bob, I think you've just finished up with Jim's Pool Care, or you're going into retirement after being with us for many, many years. So first, I want us to start off with a bit about yourself, how you got involved with Jim's Pool Care, and then, and how was the journey over the time?
Um, okay, well, going back to the start, as you say, many years ago, we'd sold a previous business and I was looking for something else. I wanted something outside, and I came across the gym's full franchise. We recently started up, probably about 12 or 18 months earlier, and there was a franchise going in Ocean Reef, already up and running, but the guy that had it. So I took it on, but I didn't live there. I lived quite a long way away from there. I lived there each day, and also took on work at home as well. Then, probably about 18 months later, I think, about the guy that had Canning Vale. So I took the two of them on, and then, having spent quite some time working on both, sold Ocean Reef. And then, sometime after that, I actually moved down to the Rockingham area or Kwinana, and so I sold Canning Vale and then started up Baldivis one from scratch. I think it was 9 years ago.
Mm.
Started off again, and here we are. And then, yes, you're right, I'm retiring. I'm going to go and help on his property on the South Coast. And so, yeah, the time came to sell, and that's where we are now.
And how's it, being in business for as long as you have? Obviously, that's not easy. Most businesses don't make it past 10 years. So how have you been able to stay in business for so long? Is there something from a customer service point of view you've been doing? Is there any advice on how to stay in for business for that long? Because it's not an easy achievement. People think it might easy, but statistically, not a lot of businesses make it past 10 years. To stay in business for as long as you have is quite a great achievement. So do you want to just talk a bit about how you run your business over the years? Did you have a team, business philosophies, and just maybe some advice for people who want to do the same thing?
Yeah, main thing is I've had fun. The whole 18, 19 years I've done it, it's been good fun. And I think that comes across. And yeah, you're right about customer service. I've always made sure that that's the most important thing. For about the last 3 or 4 years, I haven't actually taken any work from him. It's all been referrals from existing customers, and that only happens if you're doing the right thing. Um, you asked about having employees. Yes, I did for a while when I had Ocean Reef. I found that I did actually try putting somebody. I had two vans because I had one of my sons for a while was working with me. So we had two vans. When he decided to try some van, but that didn't work out. You're always following things up because obviously they're not doing it the way you do it. So you'd be getting calls. It didn't work out. So I got rid of the van and employed the person on a casual basis, and I just used them. Once he'd left, I actually then took on either backpackers or uni students. And what I would do is that you've got your 5 day week. I'd have 1 week, I'd have regular customers, 3 days. And on those days, I would employ that person. And I'd work it around, if it was a uni student, I'd work it around study day, easy for me to do. But on those 3 days, I'd have him working with me, or he, I had a girl at one stage. We just go in and blitz the regular customer. One would do the cleaning, one would do the water or whatever. And knock them off that way. And then the other 2 days, I would, where I was on my own, I'd make those the days when I'm doing installs. I don't have somebody hanging around doing nothing while I'm doing the bigger jobs. That worked out quite well. But then one side got rid of. But the idea was once I started Baldivis was to even on the size of the business because I didn't want to get if I had Canning Vale. But and that worked for a while, but then it just kept coming in. I can't actually give an explanation as to why it's lasted as long as it has. I don't know. It's just obviously something I'm doing much.
Absolutely. Now, when you say having some fun, what is having fun like? Do you want to give us some examples of having fun? How did you make the day more fun for yourself? Was there some things you did, or was just general vibing with customers, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, a bit of vibe with the customers. Although most of the time I don't see them anyway.
Yeah, can you come a bit
Um,
closer? Sorry, Bob. Just sorry to interrupt. Just a bit
yeah,
closer because the voice is chopping in and out. I'm just thinking maybe it
yeah,
might be the speaker. Yep, go for
better.
it. Yep, that should be better. Yep.
Yeah, customers is one thing. I did actually, I struck up a lot of friendships with the customers. But of course, a lot of the time with regular customers, you don't see them very often. Get the access to the pool and go around and do it. But the other thing that I am a dog lover, and a lot of customers have got dogs, and dogs get familiar with you. And I'd spend 5, 10 minutes because I wouldn't have done that when I had Ocean Reef or Canning Vale because obviously I was more motivated to do work. But once I started up the Baldivis and I didn't want it to get too busy, I wanted it to be something that I enjoyed every day.
Mm.
So I'd actually spend a good 5, 10 minutes and started work, and just found it so relaxing. I mean, of course, it could be a bit of a once you start the work because then they don't really get on. But for me, it's just relaxing. There's no pressure. That's where the fun comes. And yes, I did strike up a lot of friendships with my regular customers.
And what to you then is good customer service? You want to outline for people because everyone thinks it sounds like it's obvious to people what good customer service is, but it obviously isn't because there's a lot of people have problems with tradies and all that sort of stuff with not doing right things. So, what to you is good customer service, or how did you approach customer service in your business? Was there a
But
process you always followed, or anything like that?
the biggest one is communication. You've got to be in touch with your customers. You've got to let them know what's happening. And if, for example, you've booked in a job. Most of my jobs, I didn't have to worry about being there at set time. Most of the customers were quite happy. But most of the customers were quite happy to just turn up on the day I needed to be done. But if there were occasions where you had booked it in for a set time, I would make it a window between 60 and 90 minutes as to where I would like. If on the very rare occasion I couldn't do that, I would always ring them up and have a chat to them. They weren't hanging around doing it. Communication is number one. You've got to let people know what you're doing. I'd always make sure that even if the customer wasn't there, I'd leave a full report on the report and the invoice. I'd make a full report of what I've done, what needs to be done if it's something that's an issue they need looking at. And that way, and the other thing is that I wouldn't sell something just for the sake of selling it. If I found something was not right, it was okay, it was working okay, I'd speak to the customer about it and say, look, you're going to have to change. For example, you're going to need a new chlorinator in the next 6 months. But you're in the middle of summer and they've got heaps of things on. Chlorinator is working, but it's not working that well. I'd say to them, look, let's just massage it, keep it going. And in that 6 months, we'll have a discussion about what you want to replace it with. Right. And that way, when the time comes, you haven't got a big selling job. You already know that the thing needs to be replaced. And to the point where when you get to know the customer that well that they've referred you on to someone else, because they have got a problem with the tool, you'll go there and you'll find the issue does need to be fixed. Keep it going for a little while. Most of the time, they're quite happy to just stay because you've got a report from their friend.
Absolutely. And people, yeah, and people,
Basically communicates.
yeah, no, it's a really good advice, and people can sense that. I think if they're being pushed to, if they don't feel it's like a genuine bit of advice just for a sale, I think people can see through that. So it's a really good bit of advice, and as you said, it pays off itself with referrals, and you might get that extra thing you might have missed out on, with the referral job. I was going to say as well, Bob, how have you seen the division develop over 18 years? So you've been around for a while. How's it changed from when you started to where it is now, just with all the differences and changes?
Yeah,
And obviously, it's just pool care mobile pool shops now as well. So, how's it
yeah,
changed for you?
yeah. It's changed a lot. Obviously, when I first started, there was there was hardly any. In fact, people didn't know that instant. When we first started, we weren't getting too many leads because people just weren't ringing gyms for doing pools. There were a few, but not many. That, of course, is completely different. In how many unserved spots we come through. So it's grown massively. In the early days, there were a couple of shops as well as mobile. They didn't work well. didn't work because I wasn't involved. So I assume they didn't work. And I was never interested in that side anyway. Even if it could work, I just wanted to stay in the van. But yes, it has progressed massively. Of course, one of the biggest changes was a long time ago, was when the actual head franchisor went to Queensland. And I have, not saying this because I know Brett from the steer, but it was a lot. And the others were not bad in the beginning, but there was a big difference. And the downside from our point was that the actual running of schools left WA and went to Queensland, but that's basically run on my own, or did run.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Yeah, for people not familiar, we have divisional franchisors in gyms, and yeah, they're different, different divisions having based in different states. And yeah, the franchisors are really, really important part of it as well. So how's Simon been as well? So Simon's the
Yep.
franchisor currently. So you would have seen a few franchisors in the region. So how's he been working together with him?
Yeah, no, it's been good. I mean, Simon and I are great friends because when I had Ocean Reef, he had his territory over that way as well. And in the early days, it was hard work, and we used to work together on not work together on jobs, but work together on sending things out. And over the time, I've done 18, nearly 19 years now. He's done over 50. So we've known each other for a long time, and we are good friends now anyway. And yeah, I wouldn't want his job for quits. Not only doing look after all the other
Complaints. Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
complaints.
Yeah, it's the best place to be the franchisee. Everyone sometimes thinks, "Oh, go to the franchisor." It's not the best place to be is the franchisee. Yeah, as you said, pointed out, I got to deal with the complaints and all the issues and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. Where you get to deal with the dogs, dealing with customers' dogs, and providing good service. And I was going to say, have you seen maybe in your business, what's the biggest maybe technology changes? Has it been the introduction of robots, or what's it been for you in terms of your business?
Yeah, robots. I haven't sold a suction cleaner for years. If anybody wants a cleaner, it will be a robot that I sell. The only exception will be is if they're dead, dead set on wanting a suction cleaner. Yes, I don't recommend them. But the other thing is that, and it didn't take long after it was the development of self-cleaning chlorinators. In the early days, there was no such thing, and some of the old chlorinators around that used to cake up with calcium, thick, especially the cells that we used to have. And you have to poke, as well as cleaning them, poking out of the honeycomb. You don't see them now, and now to see a mono chlorinator is they're all self-cleaning. In the early days, it was the other way around. So there's that. Probably the development of a lot smaller pools around than there used to be because of the smaller blocks. Especially here in the West, so much building going on here. They're all small blocks, and everybody wants a pool, so they're tiny pools. So yeah, I'd say probably the last 10 or 12 years, it's the development of a lot more smaller pools than were before. No, I don't. I think that's been items.
And what have you enjoyed about being in the industry? Because it's not, I don't know, like when people research different gyms franchises, obviously everyone thinks mowing first, generally it's cleaning, but you got pool care, which for me is a really good business, and every franchisee meet in pool care, really, really happy with it. But it's an industry I sort of think it's not something maybe you might first look at. So how have you found the industry overall, and what do you enjoy about working in the industry?
Okay, well, when I first looked around at what I was going to do, I did look at gyms mowing because it was outside. It's been an outside job because all my previous business, it's all been inside. So I did look at gyms mowing, but I couldn't fancy the idea of going round and round in circles with the mower and nothing else. So I wanted something to bite to it, and I thought, well, yeah, it's okay. When you're doing regular cleaning, there's not a lot to it. Effectively, you're just putting a pool, balancing it. But there was the option that there was going to be other issues. you've got to do this. You've got a problem, things like that. And that's what appealed to me. I mean, I didn't know a bloody thing about pools when I started. I didn't even have one of my own. So I had absolutely no idea, but I thought, well, basically all we're doing is we've got to pump boiling water out of the pool, sending it through a filter, through some form of chlorination and back into the pool again. How difficult that be? So that's what appealed to me, that there must be things attached to that I need to learn about and have a go at. And that's why I took it on.
How is then obviously the training's completely different to what it is now. But how long did it take you until you felt real comfortable with what you were doing? Was it a couple of months or how long was it?
Um, it's hard because I don't have an actual time, but I was very nervous at the beginning.
Mm.
For that reason, I said that I wanted to do something that was going to stretch me, and I didn't really know what I was letting myself in for. Um, I probably, I'd say probably about 6 months after I'd installed a pump and after I'd tackled just about everything. I can't tackle everything. I mean, the bit stuff out there that I've still never seen. But once you've tackled most of the bigger things and realised that I can do it, I was comfortable after that. The Yeah, I can't actually tell you how long it took me. But,
Mm.
I can't actually say that's when I really felt comfortable.
Yeah. And you're always learning though with your industry. I guess there's always new technology coming in, robots, and you've got all the suppliers and stuff as well who would hold regular meetings
Yep,
and things where you can go to. So there's always something to learn with your division, I reckon.
yep.
And I was going to say as well, then with your work at the moment, what would you sort of say to new people coming in who want to maybe do what you've done and stay in the business as long as you've done? What would you say to them they should be focusing on? Is it training? Is it just the customer service points? Or what would you sort of advise new business owners coming into the industry and what they need to do?
Okay, well, the way that Jim's board set up now, I mean, it's brilliant in the fact that so much support. Not saying we didn't have support in the early days, but there wasn't that much to lean back on. But nowadays, there's so much there that you, not only have you got the manuals, the training, and all of that sort of thing, but you've got so many people in it now. You make up friendships with the other franchisees, and you talk to them all the time, or you should, um, and get ideas from them. And when there are meetings in the early days, you should go to them. In the early days, you should go to just about every one of them. So even if you don't learn anything about a particular product, it might be surprising if you didn't. But the mere fact you're there and you're talking to the other guys, that is a big plus. So if there are meetings, I'd say get them as many as you can, meet as many of the other guys as you can, even the other guys in other franchise, like not the mowing guys, the paving guys, and things like that. There is the potential of getting work. I've had the other guys contact me and say, look, can we get together and hand out each other's cards? And I've said to them, well, look, I'm quite happy to one of my customers if you want it. I said, but I don't want to be handing out cards or whatever. I said, but yeah, let's come and have a cup of coffee and have a chat about what you want to do and what we want to do. And yeah, if the thing comes up, I'm quite happy to refer you to them. But the other one is like I said right at the beginning, it's just have a good get on with your customers. Get on with your customers. It's so easy.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people worry when they come into Jim's franchise, they always worry about the technical side because they might be coming from a completely unrelated field, like a
Mm,
corporate job, and they worry about stressing about the technical side. But it's always when you interview them 6 months or a year later, it's always the customer service side they say is the most important,
mm,
80%, 90% of the point. And the technical side, which they were worried about, wasn't a problem in the end because they had the training and the support,
mm.
all that sort of stuff. It was the stuff that you said, the communication and all those sorts of things, dealing with your customers, being good to deal
Well,
with.
the thing with the technical stuff now compared to years gone by, there's so much you can fall back on. When the suppliers have all got their portals that you can go into and find manuals. I mean, in the early days, we used to, if you didn't have a manual, you'd have to go, say it was Davey, you'd have to go into Davey and try and get a manual from it and go out and sort the problem out. Now, you're out in your van and you've got the tablet or whatever it is you use, go onto the portal and just download it and work on it on site. There's that, and you've got your reps. The reps are, if they're a good rep, which fortunately over here we've got really good reps, you ring them up, and most of the time they can help you on the spot. If they can't, then just work out a time when you can deal with it. But the support there for technical is much better.
Yeah, it's amazing. I interview a lot of franchisees, and some of the guys who might not know the job they do, and they just go away and YouTube it or something like that, and they get the answer, and they can do it, or they call their franchisor to a FaceTime with the franchisor at the job sometimes as well.
Yep.
So there's a lot of good technology out there now for people. So the technical side's never really much of the issue, even though they think it is. It's the other stuff, as you said, which is the important stuff, which is the customer service, the contacting, calling if you're going to be late. These things which a lot of businesses might think people do, but external businesses don't. I was going to say as well, then, Bob, with running a business, what do you think what was your over the 18 years? Is there any highlights or any achievements that you're proud of? Has it just been that you've been able to stay in business for so long and sustain a small business so long, which is a massive achievement, or has there been any customer highlights, or what's been some points from you to point out to people?
Yeah, one of the highlights. Long time ago, I walked around. I always make a point of knocking on the door before I go around if the person's not there, just in case they are there. But I had this customer tell me, she says, I'm never here, so just come in and do it. And it was a fairly big property. It was about 5 acres. And I drove up the driveway, walked around, going to clean the pool, and there she was there lying on the bed, stark naked. So that was interesting.
Hey, I'm sure there's plenty of stories that you could probably tell, but yeah, that's an interesting one, and that depending on how you look at it, that's another perk of the job being the pool
Yep.
pool care franchisee.
Yeah, well, she was a good looker, so
That's another benefit to being a Jim's franchisee. And I was going to say as well, then, with exiting the business now, like what would you say to someone maybe looking at? Obviously, they might be looking at what you did. You come from a completely unrelated field. They're looking at a whole bunch of different things, which we hope they do. What would you say they want to look at pool care, for example? What would you sort of tell them about the industry? Like what some things should they know that maybe would be to make it a good one for them over other industries, or what sort of person do they need to be, or attributes do they need to be a successful franchisee in the division?
I think we've got it. I mean, you've got to be, I think you need to be fairly outgoing. If you're very reserved, you're not communicate with the customer too well. I think we're fairly outgoing. And just going with an open mind, basically. And don't obviously if you're not haven't actually started the business yet, you're actually looking at coming in, do your research. Look around, look at other pool franchises to compare. I did originally, look at a couple of others. Not that there were many around. It's pretty big at first, and just see what's around. Speak to the guys that are already doing it. I mean, over here in WA, if they contact Simon, he will put you in touch with guys that are out there. Go out, spend a few days out on the road with people. Go and see what it's like. I had a situation, I think it was a long time ago. Took a guy fairly keen, being asked by who was the franchisor at the time, to take this guy out. And he was a nice bloke, a bit hard to have a conversation with, until, as well as loving dogs, I also like aircraft. And it turned out in our conversation while travelling from job, he was a helicopter pilot. So that opened up everything. We then got, and so he wasn't an idiot. He was ideal for but in the 2 days that he came out, didn't think it was for him. There was just something that wasn't right. And I mentioned that to Peter, but he must have realised that himself because he never contacted Peter after that. Now that might be putting him off, I don't know.
But that's a good point though. People should go for the trial days. It's a really important thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was going to say then, last question before we end today's lifestyle and financial side of it. How's the lifestyle been for you? And I don't know if you've got a family or anything you worked around with, but financially as well, have you been happy with what it's been able to deliver you over the years as well?
Yeah, it's financially, I haven't made $1 million out of it, but then I haven't pushed myself. It's for me, it was a lifestyle where I couldn't afford not to work, but I didn't have to make $1 million starting. So I could actually take it, pace it at my pace, and to the point where, but the potential is there. If you're motivated and you've got a business head on, I really believe that you can. If you wanted to, you could really make something out of it. I mean, you mentioned earlier on that they're talking about, well, they're now doing shops again. Presumably that's what they're doing in Queensland. If they're going into shops again, well, obviously there's a huge potential there, because you could have one or three vans attached to that shop, and if you've got or if you've got a bloody big family and all the families running the whole thing, you could do massively. But I've chosen, in the time that I've been doing it, it's more lifestyle for me, more than seriously making a lot of money. I believe the potential for making decent money is there. So I just wanted to make money to keep me going and enjoy myself. I'm not saying that I didn't make any money. I've made a reasonable amount of money out of it. It's been good, but I haven't pushed myself to make that money. I wanted it from myself.
That's a great point, Bob. And that's the point. That's the beauty of gyms, is if you do want to have the lifestyle business and make good money to sustain yourself, you can. But if you want to push yourself and actually build something, really big, if you're chasing, financial targets and stuff, you can do that as well. And that's the beauty of gyms as well. But Bob, good luck with your retirement, and thank you very much for doing this today. It's a massive achievement to be in business as long as you have. You've obviously been a bit of a pioneer as well over in WA, and you've built a lot of different things and been a really important part of the brand building in WA, and all the franchisees coming in now can leverage off all the reputation you've built over the years. So thank you very much for doing the podcast today, Bob. We really do appreciate it. And once again, good luck with your future retirement, and hope everything goes well for you.
Thanks, mate. Good.
No, thanks, Bob. See you, mate.
See ya.
Thank you.